Hey, yeah, Bekah. I would sit in that one. Shay's gonna sit here. That way she's right next to the camera. Can I'm looking.
Are you having fun?
No, I am not having fun.
Just turn it around. Like,
But then I can't follow the chat and make sure no one's being mean.
okay, you'll figure it out. I'm sure. I just face down. If you're able to go to the setting. Wait, awesome. So this chair is surprisingly comfortable.
Yeah, but it's kind of unnerving.
Like it has more give than you expect, but it's nice.
Do you need another chair?
Yeah.
Sorry. Problem
Thank
solved.
y'all for your patience. I run on fish time.
Is your bra doesn't have any black? Right. Is it from the steak sauce part?
It must be from this.
Testing.
So, when you need to talk into it, like talk into it.
Yeah.
She's ready.
Test. Ooh. Okay. And then. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we get started. I am Monique, and I am the founder of the Society of Fat Mermaids, and I am joined today by Mermaid Ranger,
Cetea.
Mermaid Bekah. Mermaid Bekah, get it really, really, like eat the microphone. Like if you were licking it,
like it.
it's like an ice cream or something. Yeah. I'll do technology. Mermaid Bekah. Okay. And I guess starting with Bekah, could you all tell us just a little bit about yourselves, how long you've been mermaiding, and anything you think folks should know about you?
So I run the Pennsylvania Mermaid Pod. I've been mermaiding for about 15 years, and I'm SSI certified. I've been a mermaid since 2018. I am a member of the Mermaids and Circus Iron Pod. I've also been catching birthday parties
and I teach the weight belt basics class.
I've been a mermaid since, I'd say, 2018, 2019. I'm the founder of Rehoboth, Delaware, and I run the 302 pod.
And I have also been mermaiding since 2018. I am the founder of the Society of Fat Mermaids. I am a member of Circus Siren Pod with Cetea. It's 11/11 if anybody's into numbers like that.
Make a wish.
I am a Nowie mermaid instructor, and many of you, we can keep talking, but I want to know, whoever would like to go first, what does mermaiding mean to you?
Everything. I feel like it saved my life, especially finding you and Gloria.
Could you elaborate on how mermaiding saved your life?
Basically, I've hated my body my whole life, and then I found mermaiding. I found Monique and Gloria, and I started loving myself, and I no longer hate myself. And I want to continue to help others, and that's why I keep doing it too, because I want everyone else to feel the same way.
You're beautiful!
I think mermaiding has evolved for me. What I find in it, what it means to me. When I first started mermaiding, it was an escape. I was running away from a situation that was really just not great. But I was like, I'm just going to put on a kid's tail. Heck it, who cares? Have some fun. And as more people have come up to me and told me what it means to them, I realize what I do means to the world. And I think that I just want to give more of that I just want to give as much of that energy back to people as I've received. It's pretty wonderful.
So mermaiding for me is an empowerment. It started with my pain. I can't do normal workouts, so
While Bekah does that, I want to let y'all know that I have been trying to get Bekah on this panel as long as this panel has existed. And so it is really, really huge, and I'm so grateful that she's here. And experiences like this, I end up in them regularly, but this isn't something Bekah does a lot. And so it is like a great honor to me. Bekah, thank you so much for joining us and working with us and working through I don't know about eating this mic. You can go ahead and eat it. It's tasty. Just imagine it's like chocolate covered raspberries or something.
So mermaiding for me is definitely an empowerment. I started doing it because of my pain. I couldn't do normal workouts or anything. So it gave me a way to have a workout. And then as my son got older, he brought me out of my mer cave. And it was widely accepted in my area. So I started inspiring other people. And then I started the Pennsylvania Mermaid Pod, and it's just grown from there. So inspiring everybody to just embrace who they are, no matter what they look like.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the PA pod? It's one of the bigger pods, I think, and one of the more active pods.
Pre-COVID, we were actually one of the most active pods in the United States. Obviously, COVID set us back quite a bit. We lost a lot of places we used to swim. A lot of more community centers went to members only. So unless you're a member at the community pools, you weren't able to swim. We're working on rebuilding. We're working on networking with a lot of scuba dive places, trying to get more actual free dive places. A lot of the Pennsylvania pod now has become certified. I encourage all of my fishes to get their certifications just for safety reasons. So.
Thank you. For me, when I think of mermaiding, I think of freedom, right? And fantasy, and there's this thing I always wanted to do, even when I was a 4-year-old little girl, and now I get to do it as an almost 40-year-old woman. And you get under the water, and you just feel so free and so connected with yourself, and you don't have to worry about anything, and everything is weightless. Star is joining us, and it's magical. But I truly relate to Cetea talking about, like, you're doing this thing for yourself, and then you hear how it impacts other people. For me, I had a photo that it went viral. It went viral in 2018. Like 3,000 people saw it. Like it felt like, oh, it's so viral. And now, I got like 300,000 TikTok followers. But like at the time, it was like 3,000 people saw this picture. Oh my goodness. But it was a picture of me laying with my fin up in the snow in a fin fun tail. Okay, this is not like a photo of like, my new elaborate carrier tail. Just the basic entry level fin fun tail. And there were fat people commenting, there were Black people commenting, there were queer people commenting, and I realized that like I sit at these intersections where if I just go and have fun and live out loud, like it reminds larger body people and fat folks and queer folks and those of us who are othered and like told we don't belong, that we do in fact belong, and we can be beautiful, and we are beautiful. Because one of the other things about, and I didn't post it, the photographer posted it, but it wasn't like, oh, I may be big, but I'm still glorious. It was just like, look at me in all my glory. There was no apology in that. And it was really cool seeing those comments, because it was like, oh, I get to just go have fun and do what I wanted to do ever since I was 4, but it's liberation work. And I love that, because basically I just get to do what I was doing when I was 4. So for me, like, mermaiding is about freedom, community, like all of y'all that I've met have just been so amazing, and liberation. Welcome, Star. Star is an amazing part of our community. I'm so happy they're able to join us. Would you kindly introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your mer history and what mermaiding means to you?
Hi, everybody.
And eat the microphone, please.
Eat it.
Like, get really, really close to it. And if you think
Hi,
you're close enough-
everyone. My name is Star. I use they, them pronouns. I am from North Jersey. I, for a little while, ran the Tri-State Pod, but unfortunately I don't have the energy to anymore. And I have been mermaiding for about 6-ish years, maybe a little bit longer than that. Around late 2017 I started. Once I entered the community proper, MerMagic was like in a couple months. So I've been going here since it started. I am a hobbyist mermaid. I have dipped my toes into professional and performing before, but it's not really my main thing. I make it my big goal to learn as much as I can about all the different things that happen in our community, and monofins, tails, tail makers, whatever I can learn, I do my best to learn, and I try to be a source of information for fellow MERS and bring them into the fold.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, this next question, I do hope to hear from all of you, but whoever wants to go first can. How has mermaiding impacted your relationship with your body?
I'll go first, yes. Honestly, there were so many things about my body that I was always told were wrong. My belly was wrong. My arms were too big. And, my dad was always like, you're so beautiful. If only you could just fix this part, right? And when I started mermaiding, I didn't think about my body. I didn't do it because I was trying to perform. I did it because, like I said, I was running away. It was fun. I was doing it in a apartment complex pool. And then when people started talking to me, until I started going viral online, that's another thing. People didn't talk about my size. They said you're graceful. They said you're beautiful. They said you're magic. You make me believe in mermaids. No one ever said anything about my body until I went online. And so by the time I got to the online sphere, and I went viral, as all of us do eventually, just a little, and all the trolls start rolling in, it's like, wait a second, you mean my mermaid body? Like, is it okay? Like, it actually kind of shocked me a little bit. But it was at that moment I realized how much I had disconnected from the shame I felt before I put on a fin. Like, it hadn't occurred to me that I started loving my body until it did. And that was really cool.
So, similarly to
similarly to Cetea, I started not thinking about it. Like, yes, when I saw myself in pictures, I did feel a little bit better about how I looked. I definitely liked how my butt looked better. But, it not only as, like, just as a larger person, but as a disabled person, I feel I had an unique experience where once I'm in the water, I don't feel as much pain. Like, having chronic pain, mermaiding is so freeing, both as a fat person and as a person with chronic pain. You feel lighter, you feel weightless, you feel magical and otherworldly. Kids don't look at me and say, oh, you're fat, you can't be a mermaid because you're fat. They say, holy shit, it's a mermaid. And it made me like my face more. It made me like a lot of my body more. Being around so many different people of so many different shapes and sizes and looks and levels of ability in general has made me feel more at peace with who I am and what I look like. So mermaiding has really just changed my overall self-image to be a positive one.
So my whole life I was fat shamed. I was always put down. I was always told to cover up. When I put on my mermaid gear, I'm a freaking goddess. Like, there is a femininity that comes out of me that I did not know existed. I feel so powerful. Did anybody hear anything? So it's very empowering to feel that femininity come out, to feel that sensuality that I didn't know existed. Yeah, I feel like a freaking goddess when I put my tail on. And I'm definitely
It's my turn. So I would just say everything that they just said, and I basically was bullied, and I'm sure everyone else can understand. I was physically and mentally bullied in school to the point where I needed to leave, and I finally found myself pretty much when I found the mermaid community. I started loving myself, like I said before, and yes, also mermaiding has helped. I do have chronic pain, fibromyalgia, and arthritis pretty much throughout my body and spine. So in the water, I actually feel like a normal person, if there is such thing. I don't have pain, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. For me, and it's a little seasonal, but mermaiding is the first time I thought of myself as an athlete, and that I started thinking about my body in terms of like, how do I want it to perform? And I've done a lot of like dance and performance art stuff before, but like mermaiding has such a specific demand of our bodies that it's like, if I want to go to this next level, I need to do X, Y, Z. And it wasn't like I need to do X, Y, Z so I can look a certain way, but so I can do a certain thing. And that's such a very different relationship with my body for me. Ooh, speaking of bodies, I always love to ask this question at SOF and stuff. What's your favorite part of your body?
My shoulders. My partner's in the back and he's like, no, but my shoulders are my favorite part of my body. Like, my upper arms, maybe not so much, but this part of me, like, I don't know. I think I looked really, really good in a shirt. It looks good when they have like side thing going on. It makes me feel confident.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be so real, boobs. But also my face. I really like my nose. But It's boobs. It's boobs. It's boobs. I like my tummy more than I used to, but it's boobs.
So mine is my eyes. But recently, watching my booty in that tail, kind of pretty fabulous.
I had to make sure it was okay to say that, but yeah, my boobs and my butt.
I think on tummy and boobs, like I like touching my belly. It's very comforting. But like I like boobs. Do you all think it's important to have a community of plus size Merms? And why?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily a way to expound upon that. Absolutely. Like, just the idea that we are more visible as a group, and I think that's important that the world sees more of us, whether or not they agree with it or not. Just because we're challenging norms, we're showing people that they can do this too, so people see themselves in us too. But also because we are visible to each other. I think that we feel so much more empowered to do what we do when we look at all the pretty pictures of all our fellow fat mermaids that we post on the Facebook group and whatnot. And we're like, heck, she's beautiful. And then we go, hey, I'm beautiful too. And then we all keep doing this. That's why we're all still here, right?
So many people that I meet when they learn I am a mermaid, they're like, oh, I can, especially larger folks, people of all different body types, they're like, oh, I can never. And I'm like, let me show you how to. And I show them Shay, I show them Cetea, I show them my friend Montera, I show them my friend Elise, I show them Penner. I show them Bekah. And their eyes just open, the look on their face. It's like you completely change a person's worldview. Not like just to mention like feminine people who I show, but like the masked people I show. When I show them people like Maui, for example, when I show them people like even y'all, like it changes their worldview. So I absolutely think it's so important to have a community of fat merfolk.
It's about that strength in numbers and knowing that you're not alone. So many of us just feel disconnected and that we're the only one. So having a group like this is, again, it goes back to empowerment.
Yes, I totally agree that we do need this, especially thinking back as myself as a kid. I definitely needed this, and so that's what gets me through, especially all the trolls, is it's little kids that are actually seeing you too, and they're growing and they could be being bullied right now, and they need representation too.
Okay. So speaking of trolls, do you have any advice to navigate trolling and people who are like, you shouldn't be doing this? And I want to hear advice both for like in person and online because they're different, I feel like, dynamics.
Block. There is a block button on your Instagram. Block them. You don't need them in your life.
So, sitting on this panel a couple years ago, this question came about, and I remember a lot of responses to it. I remember people saying, well, this is how I get back at the trolls, this is how I respond to them. And the best advice I've ever gotten in my entire life for how to handle these situations came from you, Shay. And the words that you said stuck with me, and I have repeated it to so many people at this point because, like, I get a little choked up sometimes I think about it, actually. You said, if you spent as much time as you do responding to haters as you do to people that are there because they love you and they want to see more of what you're doing and they think that you're the coolest thing ever, you're going to make yourself a lot happier and you're going to make someone else's day. and that hit me. And so I've said that to so many people, and I continue to live that, and it's true. It's made me a lot happier. And the people that are like, "You're talking to me, what?" I should do that. No happy hands. It makes a lot of other people's day too, and I think the world's a better place for that kind of gratitude.
Honestly, the only thing I can really add is like Bekah and Cetea have already said so much that, I agree with. Surround yourself with your support systems. Surround yourself with the people who love you. Have them gas you up rather than, burn you down. The people who matter and the people who support and love you are the people who you need to be spending your time on. And I know it's hard. I know that mental energy is so hard, especially when invasive thoughts pervade us, but that's what support systems are for. They're here to lift you up.
Do any of you, and that advice I gave you, it came from Trevor Noah. And and it came from one of his followers was called him out on Twitter. It was like, you're going toe to toe with all these haters, but I, at you every day, and I'm like, I think you're amazing, and you don't say anything. And so it was an eye-opening moment for him, and me, and you, and okay, so that's cool, right? Because that's how positive vibes spread, right? It's like somebody says something awesome, and then you just spread the word, and so that's how all sorts of things spread. Have any of you encountered people giving you grief about your body in person? Someone online asked how to also navigate this in person.
Kind of. I guess through secondhand fashion, if that exists. I'm in a performance space. Let's say I'm at the Renaissance Fair, and I hear a kid turn to mom and repeat something that dad said. That can't be a mermaid because she's fat. Or, wow, that's a whale in there. But they're not saying it to me. They're saying it around me, about me. And in those situations, I guess it's easier to just ignore. Or sometimes maybe I'll take it. And if there's no one else around, maybe I'll splash some water at them and be like, see, I'm real. But that's kind of, I haven't actually had anyone come up and directly to my face as a mermaid and say, your body can't do this. So that's really my only experience with it. But I think that the saying it around us happens more often because people feel more comfortable not saying it to your face, right? There's a lot of people that just aren't that bold. They prefer to just, and honestly, they're entitled to their wrong opinions. I don't know, I'm just making those women.
Yeah, I've never encountered it in person. That was a question that came up from someone online, and if that's something that concerns you, most people do not have that much audacity. It is so easy to be so bold online and to be so opinionated, and it's cute, right? It's really cute for someone to be laying in bed, looking at us doing something physically demanding, and be like, "Oh, you need to work out." And it's what, you're sitting on your phone hating on people on TikTok, people who are actively doing something. Okay, but people don't tend to have that cognitive dissonance in person. And so if that's something you fear, I'm not going to say it'll never happen. I've also never gotten grief, wearing a bikini at the beach. I'm not saying it never happens. We know it happens. We see videos that people post oh, look at this person. But the likelihood of it happening, not particularly high. And even and so I think the internet sometimes scares us because the internet is a space where people get to be big. They get to be big, ugly. They get to be big, beautiful. Whatever it is, you have the freedom of that anonymity and amplifying your message really quickly. But I don't think it's enough of a threat to stop you, or that it should stop you. But another question we had was, how do you navigate determining if you're in a size-friendly or a plus-size, inclusive, or friendly space?
As a performer, I have two different answers to this. As a performer, it's one, and say, I'm going to book you. If they did not, then they probably aren't going to be size inclusive. Or size friendly. But I guess as far as also accessibility, right? Like, we can work for performance, but not all of our bodies work that way. And even as a performer, there are just challenges because I weigh a lot. Like, I have some pain issues, but even that aside, if I'm pulling myself out of the side of the pool, I'm not pulling 110 to 150 pounds. I'm pulling my 260-pound body plus a silicone tail plus my weight belt. Like, that's a lot to pull out. So I need some options, right? And being in a space that says, oh, we have some ways, we have steps to our pool. Okay, you can kind of scoot yourself in and out. Or, hey, there's a bar that we've installed so you can haul yourself out better. Or these things that people like sit back and say, okay, like you have a problem and you vocalized it, we'll work with you. That, to me, says that they're a safe place to be. A size safe place to be. I guess that's the word, right? And if they're not really giving you these things, then maybe don't work with them again because clearly they didn't have your best interest, they didn't want the best out of your performance or whatever. And as a hobbyist, I guess, is just, do you feel comfy? If you don't, you have every reason to leave a situation you don't feel comfy in.
Any other advice for determining if a space is like safe for plus size folks?
Generally, if other plus size folks are in the space, it's probably safe. But also, in the situation that it's not, it's about to be one if I'm there. Like, shit. Like, sorry. Like, heck. If it's not already, I will go to whatever space it is, whatever it's a public venue, whether it's a community meetup, and I'll be like, hey, do we have that? Is this happening? Do we have this to make it easier to do certain things physically, etc. If someone is feeling down on themselves because they are one of the only other plus size people there, I'm gonna lift them up. But it is a little hard to tell. I will definitely say that. Also, I'm sorry for cursing.
Does anybody have any thoughts or ideas of what the community could do better to be more accessible to people with disabilities?
Let us swim in places that have accessibility. I mean, letting us swim, period, would be great because that seems to be a problem, but that's also limiting the spaces that we have that have accessibility as part of it. Like, you're just limiting the whole pool of where you swim, and that pool is already, the pool of places with pools, was already small to begin with. So just let us swim.
If you are someone who is running a meetup, if you are someone who's running a pod, if you are someone who's running an event, and if you are someone who has access to be able to make something more accessible, reach out to those you know who are who are disabled, and be like, how can I accommodate you? Is there anything that you need? When you check with your pools, find out what kind of entry there is. Is there a beach entry? Is there a stair entry? Is there a ramp? Is there only ladders? What kind of things are in place? Do you have to take stairs just to get into the facility? Is it extremely loud all the time? Because, like someone's disability might not necessarily be visible. It might be something like autism, which, hi. That's one of mine. But, like, really, the best thing you can do, ask, how can I accommodate you? How can we better help you? Accessibility isn't one size fits all. And the best thing to do, ask questions.
And I would add on that to just like be proactive in your outreach. And I think that's with any community. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, well, we would add these if there were this type of people here. And it's like, well, this type of people, whatever it is, aren't going to show up until you add these accommodations. And so being proactive in reaching out, like that's the thing. I have a background in burlesque, and they're like, oh, well, no POC apply to the show. And it's like, well, invite some POC to apply to the show. You know, sometimes if you want to step up your inclusion efforts, they need to be proactive and not passive. And I think that goes to many types of communities and many types of inclusion. I am going to do a admin thing. Do we end at 11:50 or do we end at 12? 12? Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I saved time for y'all to have questions and stuff. Can you shout out a fat mer you admire? Yeah.
Mermaid Cetea. But also, to also name one other name that I admire just as much, who isn't here, Siren Aurora. I adore her. She's sunshine, and just the way she holds herself and loves herself. I want to be like that.
I'm gonna have to go with our Mermami Shay. When I met Shay, I was a bundle of nerves. I had all kinds of insecurities and all kinds of stuff going on. And she was like, "Girl, own it." And I was like, "What? Do what? I can't do that." And I've come such a long way from just that one conversation with her. I'd never be here.
Thank you.
And also Shay. This is actually just a question where we just get to love on you. But it's true, because when I didn't know that you started in 2018. And I remember we had this conversation where you had mentioned that you thought that I had been doing this forever and I was really cool. I'm like, wait, but I thought you've been doing this forever and that you were really cool. And I like looked up to you and I saw your booth and I was a baby mer and I was like, oh my gosh, this mer is so cool. And then I got to meet you and I'm like, oh my gosh, this mer is incredible. And also like really just, what's what I'm looking for? Inspiring. And just the work that you do and the community that you built is just like, you're rocking it. So yeah,
Well, obviously, Shay Monique, and Eulalia, and Merman Maui. And I also want to take a shout out to my girl, the Delaware Mermaid, Mermaid Pearly Whirl. Love you so much, and I admire you so much. My first time ever being in a tail in the water was with you, and you made me feel beautiful. So and you are too, and I love you so much. Keep doing you. I can't wait to see those pictures. I love you, girl.
Okay, so since I can't say Shay, I was gonna say Eulalia. I was also thinking Siren of the Springs. He's an incredible free diver, and also works with Mer Taylor and just and who else was I thinking of? The Mermaid Seamstress, or Mermaid Sewist. They're non-binary, and just kind of rebranded themselves. Absolutely incredible. And just because we don't have like a lot of like masculine representation, I'm gonna say the Cape Breton Merman. He is so awesome. He's in Canada. He's the nicest guy ever. He's a radio announcer. I'm gonna start having him like do stuff with us just because I love his voice. I'm like, hey, can we like go on the internet and just talk together because you have like this great radio voice? And he's like, sure. But he's in his 50s and he's just this like really, really sweet, jovial guy. He's also incredible. Like if you're trying to like get going online and you want engagement, just follow him. He'll follow you back. But he will give you like the most incredible compliments on everything you post, like paragraphs. And like, it's just good because like you need people to engage and like he will engage. But it's just also cool to see like a middle-aged guy with his belly. Like he legit for his church is the Santa Claus, you know? Like, so think Santa Claus as a merman. He's pretty cool. Oh, I should have said this a long time ago, and I'm just going to say it because I'm thinking of it right now. We don't have a booth this year. This is the first time in the existence of MerMagicCon that there's not a Society of Fat Mermaids booth, because I'm trying to figure out how to make the math better. I like to sell stuff very affordably for plus size folks, but those margins make things not add up well. But because we don't have a booth, we do have a free shipping code. So it's MMC24. So you can go on our website, and if you buy stuff, it will ship to you for free. So it will be like we had a booth, and then you don't have to travel it home with you, but you don't have to pay for shipping. So MMC24 for free shipping. I think I want to kick things off to y'all for questions, and I have like 5,000 questions here. So we can come back to my list, but do any of you in the audience have questions?
I don't have a question. I have a comment.
Okay.
I love you all so much, and I'm so proud seeing the couple of you up there who don't want to be up there, but you did so good. You know who I'm talking to. I love you all.
I love you, okay, I think y'all all heard that, but it was, I don't have a question, I have a comment. I love you all, and I'm so proud of you, especially those of you who don't want to be up there, but you're up there. You know who you are. I love you all. We love you too.
Also, not really a question, more of a comment. It is incredibly empowering to see women just embrace this side that as we get older is kind of like change, you know? It's very empowering because we're always like, oh, you have to be an adult, you have to behave properly, you have to do the things like the book, and it is just so nice, freeing, and just good for the soul.
Oh, there we go.
Hi.
I was like taking really hard mental notes so I could repeat all of that, but this is even better. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Too loud. Okay. I'm not sure that I can do that again. It was just coming, flowing. But I was just saying that it's so good for the soul to see all of you and everyone here really, but especially you that are so outspoken about it, literally. Embrace it. Because embracing this is very liberating to the inner child that I think as an adult, a lot of us are just trying to heal and embrace and support and be like, it's okay, let's go back to that. And yeah, that was just that.
So much.
Thank you.
Shay, is it okay if I make a comment?
Absolutely.
So much of society, I feel like, pressures everyone to not play. And it's literally been psychologically proven that the human brain needs playtime. We, as far as we know, only have one life. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. I don't care what other adults who are like up their own butt and like try to be like, oh, you shouldn't be spending your money on that. Oh, you shouldn't be spending your time on that. I'm having fun. I'm living my life, and I'm gonna have those joyful memories, and you aren't. So like, have a good time. And if you feel empowered by it, all the better to it.
Any other questions?
Where do you get your like main source of like where do you get your like where do you get your most encouragement? Like where do you get like the most encouragement you have?
That's a really good question.
People like you. You are very beautiful. I get my encouragement from you. So keep doing everything that you want to and keep going, okay?
Honestly, thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for helping all the plus-size people out there. Thank you for helping us.
Thank you for helping us too. Yeah, just creating this community, this pod, our friends. Like, I mean, you see, we like all just hype each other up, you know, and you can be part of our hype squad, and it just bounces back, you know. It's like, I think you're cool, you think I'm cool, I think they're cool, and we just all like have this whole like love fest. And so it's surround yourself with good people, and they'll raise your vibes. Do you have internet questions? Are we high tech?
We are high tech. No, but I have one question that I always like to ask everyone. That you really want as a plus size person, not just like, oh, your eye drops or your ear wash or whatever, but something that you want in your bag that helps making mermaiding as a plus size person better.
They are on the expensive side, but St. Cloud towels, the big XL ones, they're the only ones who fit around my body. They are lightweight. They are wonderful. I'm not sponsored. This is not a sponsor. I just love the product. Really, just like a big towel. Something. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Hold on, my brain's processing.
Was this for things we wish we had or things that we must have in our kit?
In your kit that's available.
Weight belt. I don't do much without it because I don't enjoy being a cork. Something that I'm sure a lot of us can relate to is whoop, and you're right back to the surface. It's very hard to you ruin the face by the time you get down to the bottom, and then you sit there for a second like, yeah, I did it. And then so I always bring a weight belt. Also, I'm running the weight belt class because I feel very passionately that everyone should be. I'm not trying to plug for my class. I promise. It just came up, but take the class.
Take the class. It's really good. I would say weight belt, but I don't always use my weight belt, and I feel like I do want to speak to like, don't wait unless you take the class or you have some other training on waiting. And so someone asked about posing. I don't mind being a cork all the time. You just have to have a plan for it, if that makes sense. So I like to swim down and kind of float through. So it's like if there's a pose, someone online asked a question about plus size posing. And Montera back here, she loves to do the like aerial, like over her head pose. And so you would swim down to the bottom of the pool and like kick your fluke up. And then as you come up, you can keep posing. Like if there's a photographer with you or anybody else with you, you know, you can like gracefully extend your arm and work your way up. You can do a couple tricks and whatever during that float. So I like to have the weight belt for when I feel like having the weight belt, but sometimes I don't want to be bothered, but that's definitely an essential, which means I carry the weight in my backpack a lot and then don't even use it. So that's fun. And then I think my other like plus size essential would be a gap wrap, like especially now that I'm mostly in like my silicone tail, like sometimes she goes exactly where she's supposed to, but sometimes, you know, like that like extra little sign roll likes to pop out in a weird way. So it's just nice to have something to, and for me, like a gap wrap can be like a fancy silicone one, or it can just be a random piece of fabric I picked up on my way to a thing because it's the right color. So that would be another essential.
I'd say what I have is my husband, my wrangler. I could not do anything without him picking up everything for me. What I would need is definitely a weight belt because I am a big floater.
We have a question over here.
What?
So again, it took me about 5 years to get Mermaid Bekah to get on this panel with us. So whenever you're ready for your question, we're ready for you. And we had one more question over here, and then we're gonna take a group photo. Oh, and then I think a question for y'all.
Okay, so is there a product you wish existed? Something that would make your life easier? In mermaiding, of course.
Monofins that actually fit my fat feet.
Monofins that actually fit her fat feet. Like high-level performance tails that zipped or were like easier to get into. Mermaid does make zippable silicone tails. I don't know if they still exist. I would love if the Mythics were still in production by Finkel, but like a performance quality tail with a zipper would be amazing. And maybe monofins that had a little bit more space in between them, because in addition to fat feet, there's fat thighs. So yeah.
I would like if more tail bags were made so that you can put them on a thing that rolls. Like, I'm gonna be so real. But, oh, I had something else to say. I'm so sorry, my brain left. But something else that would make it easier is if we, if instead of being like, we're working on it, when people who make the stuff for us would ask us, what would be best for you guys? Like, how do you guys find things in your size? What do you like in the things that are your size? You know, like, I know that a lot of top makers have a harder time making plus size stuff. Talk to us. Like, I think things that would make it easier would be access to makers just asking and not being afraid to ask. Honestly, I know that was worded weird.
Okay, my question for y'all, because I have 50 other questions, a lot of which came from the internet, is should we do stuff like this more often, maybe online or something? Like if we had virtual panels, maybe on specific topics, would you show up? Would you maybe pay $5 for it? Is this a thing you want more of? Yeah? Okay. All right. Sweet. Does anybody have any final closing thoughts?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Shay, for having me. Thank you to all the other panelists for sitting up here and doing this, because I know it wasn't easy for all of you. And also thank you everyone that came out today to listen to us talk on it and answer questions, because you guys are why we're here.
And the code again.
Make us magic so we can be magic. So thank you. That's all I want to say.
Kristen is the other half of my brain, possibly 3/4. She reminded me to remind you that we're having a meetup. We're having an SOFM group swim at 4, right?
I think so.
Lanes 1 and 2. So please come swim with us. It's going to be a good time. We are going to gather for a group photo. So everybody please get in the photo just right in front of the table. I guess that makes sense. And maybe Christopher, can you take the photo for us? Awesome. And we'll smile and be cute. And then we'll do a reel. You're a Mer partner and you know how to do all this stuff, right? Sure. Okay. So that's when you video it in portrait mode. You'll do a reel and I'll be like, Fat Mermaids. And then you guys say, all right. And we'll do that 3 times and then we'll jiggle or something. Okay? Is that a plan? Oh.
Reminder about the code.
Reminder about the coupon code. So on societyofatmermaids.com, the code is MMC24. I think I saw a flash. I think somebody just bought something. So whoever you are a rock star. I love you. Thank you. Supporting small businesses. Do more of that and we might bring our booth back. All right. Yeah, let's take a picture.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Be in the back because I'm thoughtful.
Yeah, I think we should. I don't know.
Because I have the mobility to do so.
Oh, am I gonna get down? I'll get down.
I can't.
I'm gonna get big.
Get low, get low, get low.
Is it in this?
No, it's
Okay, I was gonna say.
I'm just.
We're gonna be real close to each other. Come on in, come on in. It's like we like each other.
You guys get the ceiling for a minute.
Woo! You say make waves. Make waves. Make waves. Really loud. Oh, there it is. All right. We're training you. It's okay. You're good. You're good. You're good. Video it. You let me know. Okay. Fat Mermaid! Make waves! Fat Mermaid! Make waves! Fat Mermaid! Make waves! Now I have to get up. Hold on one second. Wait. Okay, thank you.